Well, it's Wednesday, and you all know what that means. As you know, WWE Evolve are on the road to secession. We're only just 1 week away till we get there. So a lot of things is going to take place. We have, of course, Noam Dar and Romero Moreno teaming up to see how well they'll do against Cam Hendricks and Harley Riggins, who's been in Moreno's thorn, of course, since he first arrived. Then we have, of course, Zena Sterling taking on Anya Rune, and plenty other matches as well. And then we move on with AEW Dynamite. As you probably know, we're only almost 1 week from Sunday, of course, for Forbidden Door. It's going to be very epic. However, of course, we're going to find out who MJF will be teaming up while they face, of course, Mark Briscoe. So Briscoe will also reveal who will be teaming up with them. And of course, we have a semi-final match, of course, for the women's Owen Hart tournament. So the real question is, who will walk out? Will it be Azuki, or of course last year's winner of the Owen Hart tournament, Mercedes Moné? We just have to wait and see when that day comes. And then, as always, we'll wrap up our episode as usual with some news updates to give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are throwing out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready with another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK. In a world wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information is unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do some real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something is happening in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us and click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get started. So let's begin with WWE Evolve. Okay, WWE Evolve. It opened up with our foreman, of course, Timothy Thatcher, giving updates on what's going to happen for next week for Ascension, of course. However, he was, let's just say, surprised to see Wendy Chu, who showed up for her upcoming match contract, of course, signing. As you all know, she'll be facing Nikita Lyons and defending the Evolve Women's Championship. But, however, she did state that she's going to keep an eye on the match with Zena Sterling and Anya Rune. But she did state that Anya Rune is her favorite to win. So, we'll see how things will go from there. Now, our opening match is Elijiah Holyfield taking on Brookes Jensen. Now, this match was pretty much a hoss fight. However, Brookes Jensen decided to cheat his way through by pulling on the leg of Elijiah off the turnbuckle, hitting his head in the corner, then of course pinning him with the roll up, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he walked away with the win. So he took advantage exactly what he was going to do. Now, if I was Brookes Jensen, don't celebrate too soon, because I wouldn't be surprised if Elijiah feel will come after you like a how to say, a wolf looking for its prey. So that's the last thing I don't want. Now our next match is of course Chad Starboy Hall, or as we all know him, Starboy Charlie, taking on Tristan Angels. Now, as you all know, Tristan Angel is now on the campaign to prove himself that he is the rightful person to speak up on everyone. He thinks the guys like Starboy are a joke. Why does he wear denim? Now, of course, Starboy doesn't care about the denim. All he cares about is showing he's a fight. I think many people, I would say, might have put their monies on Starboy. I mean, personally, I would too. But man, Starboy really did everything humanly possible to try to pick up the win. But unfortunately, Tristan took him out with, of course, what he calls the Shire's Kiss. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, he won the match. But of course, during the post-match comments, he made it perfectly clear what he's trying to do to show exactly why he is Mr. England and all this other stuff. But I highly doubt that, of course, because we know for a fact he may bring that kind of pageant into WWE, but it's going to take more than that to try to succeed. Now, before her match, we did see Zena Sterling, of course, doing a video promo, talking about her upcoming match and all this, all the opportunities she missed out. But she seems like she is in a good mood. Now she faces against Anya Rune. Now, the one thing I did notice about this match, I don't know how much of a botch it was because Anya Rune messed up going off the turnbuckle. I don't know exactly what she was planning, but she fell down. Then she tried again, but it was no luck. Sterling applied a sidewalk slam onto her, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, when we thought, of course, like everything was fine, later here comes Gianna Capri. Once again, tries to tell her, what are you still doing here? This is the reason you don't belong here, because she acts like she is high and mighty. But of course, thank God for Layla Diggs and Mason Holiday, who decided enough is enough. So they decided to step on the defense of Anya Rune. Now, during an interview by Blake, he went to talk to Harley Ringers to see how is he doing with his shoulder injury. Now, of course, Braxton Cole is making fun of him, saying, well, his career is over, so I will help him out with, getting him as a janitor. He thinks that it's funny, but Harley Ringers knows this is not over yet. He knows there's a lot of people would tell him that, but he's not going to let anybody tell him what to do. And of course, he's just a smug shot, but when he said that once he gets cleared, he wants Braxton Cole in a no disqualification match. So hopefully Thatcher gets the message on that. Now, we did see Nikita Lyons also do a contract signing for upcoming match for the Evolve Women's Championship against Wendy Chu. So, as you probably know, she got that covered. But however, a guy named Kevin on stage decided to show up, and he told Timothy Thatcher he has an idea. How about in 2 weeks' time, let me be your guest GM and make all the decisions? And that's exactly. And one of those decisions, I think he talks about Braxton Cole and Harlem Lewis in a no disqualification match. So Timothy Thatcher said, why not? I'll let you have it. Now, our next match is Cam Hendricks and Harley Riggins, the bullies of Evolve, taking on Noam Dar and Romero Moreno, who, as you all know, these guys are getting their footing in as a tag team. As probably you saw NXT, Noam Dar said he never thought about doing something like this. He might have thought he wanted to be a mentor for Moreno, but he never imagined this would be the perfect, because if you guys saw, Frazier's told him, you found your tag partner. So he told them that this was be a good idea. But however, we all know that Cam Hendrick and Riggins were attempting to cheat their way through. Riggins tried to use a trash can that he got from underneath the ring, but thank God the Tate Wild for showing up. And I'm sure this is the last thing that Riggins and Hendricks want. But because of that, it allowed both Noam Dar and Romero apply a very interesting move. Noam Dar with the Supernova, and then of course Moreno with the kick on the low, and just like that, Dar picked up the win. 1, 2, 3, done. So we might see a very impressive tag team between Noam Dar and Romeo Moreno. So that's going to be great. However, before the event was over, of course, we did see a bit of an interview between both competitors for the Evolve Championship. We're talking about Max Abrams and Aaron Rourke. So that kind of sets it up. Now, Max Abrams made it sounds like, he felt that he was being shrugged off by Shawn Legacy when he left. Like, basically, felt like he was being turned back on his back, and now he wants to do this, like aiming it. But however, Aaron Rourke was not going to let someone like him try to disrespect what they tried to build. Now, as you all know, Aaron Rourke and many of the other wrestlers, either they're still in Evolve or in NXT, are in fact the first generation of the IDs, and that's exactly what they were trying to do. However, Aaron Rourke was invaded by the members of the Mob Squad, and it ended like that. I don't know what really happened. Hopefully next week in Succession we get a much clearer picture of what happened. Now, I think that's pretty much it we have, so let's end it right here and move on with AEW Dynamite. Alright, AEW Dynamite. As you know, we're on the road to, of course, Forbidden Door. We opened up with an interview with Lexi Neer talking to, of course, the Don Callis family and MJF. Now, the real question is, who will MJF be part of? Well, let's just say who's in the Don Callis family would join MJF to take on Mark Briscoe and his crew. Well, the pick is Kevin Knight, obviously. And then we have, of course, Kyle Fletcher, his alpha, as he calls him. And then, of course, we have Jake Doyle, Kazuchika Okada, and then finally Andrade Lido. But this is the one thing that Andrade does not want, because he does not want to team up with the guy who, I don't know if he finds him annoying or whatever, but yes, and that's what happened. So, there you go. It's MJF with Knight, Fletcher, Doyle, Okada, and Andrade. So, that's pretty much the team. Now, our opening match is Tony Nese taking on Kenny Omega. Now, obviously, we know Kenny was going to pick up the win, and that's exactly what he did when he applied the one-wing angel. But, however, we had a surprise visit from Zack Sabre Jr., who made it all the way to AEW, but he didn't come alone. He had Mikey Nichols, and I forgot who else he had. I think Bad Dude Tito, or I don't know, but someone there. And then, of course, Kenny walked out, but he was joined by both the Bucks and Jack Perry. So, as you probably know, this is going to be epic. But Kenny had some few words to say to Zack Sabre Jr., and we'll see what happens as we get to, of course, Forbidden Door. Now, our next match is the Death Riders, more consistently Daniel Garcia and Jon Moxley taking on Brodito, who we haven't seen teamed up for quite some time. I think many of us probably would ask, how will they do? Because, as you know, they both tried to aim for the AEW World title and they failed. But now they're back together to get themselves on track. And I think it was very obvious. But the one thing that was interesting, Brody King did the barking onto Marina, but Marina barked back. But in the end, of course, it was the 21 plex onto Garcia by by Bandito, and put him away. 1, 2, 3, it was over. So just like that, Brodito are back. Now, we did see, of course, Fletcher and Okada in the back. We don't know what they were doing because, as you know, they're getting ready for Forbidden Door. But what they did is they took out Tomohiro Ishii as a way to ensure that Mark Briscoe will not have a stronger team. So that's the one thing that they are counting on. Now, once again, Tommaso Ciampa did another video talk about Jericho and all this other stuff. As you know, Tommaso will be facing Jericho very soon, and that's the one thing I think many of us want to see. Now, the Dogs, as you know, were in the back until they were attacked by both Copeland and Cage. So this is epic. They chased them down from the back all the way to the front, to the ring, and they went on air. But of course, this is going to be another epic battle between those two. So that's going to be interesting to see. Now, Tekla, as you know, she is fully aware that she's defending the AEW Women's World title against Starlight Kid. And that's exactly true. But she made it perfectly clear that she's not going to allow her to take away something that belongs to her. So we'll see where that goes from there. Now, Lex Lanier conducted another interview with Brodito, this time talking, of course, their big victory against the Death Riders. But of course, Jon Moxley decided to bring out, of course, his little words of wisdom for whatever he talks about. And then, of course, he made it clear that he wants to have a shot of him at Forbidden Door. So that's something we're going to see sooner or later. Now, our next match is the semifinals of the women's of the Owen Hart tournament. Mercedes Moné, as you all know, was last year's winner, takes on Azuki, who, as you probably know, these two ladies have faced off before, and this will be their third time they face each other. The first time, of course, it was for the New Japan Strong Women's title, that sort of thing. And it led to this. But the match was pretty good. You would have assumed Azuki would have picked up the win, but however, Mercedes Moné picked up the win when she applied the statement maker, and just like that, she tapped out Mercedes in the finals. But I think the real question is who will be joining her. Now, my smart money would say would be Athena, because Athena, as you know, is trying to prove herself that she is the actual American Yoshi wrestler, that she's the one who's going to be at the top of the mountain. But Mercedes Moné is not going to let that happen. So hopefully that turns out, but we'll see. Now, we did see a bit of face-to-face confrontation with Will Ospreay. Now, of course, Will Ospreay was supposed to be in his honeymoon with his wife, Alex Windsor, and he just left her in the hotel and just left to come to Houston. But, of course, he had the face-to-face with Swerve Strickland. Now, Swerve, as you know, is not happy with Will for his choices, you know. But, of course, Will asked him, where the hell were you anyway? I saw Kenny was trying to save me. The Bucks tried to save me. You know, like after what happened when he got stomped in the back of his neck by, of course, the Death Riders. That was one of the things. So he told him, oh, that's right, you were injured. That's what happened. And all that. So they were going back and forth about who has changed. That sort of thing. And of course, you would have assumed that Swerve Strickland would have done something, but the Death Riders showed up. So sending a clear message to Swerve, that sort of thing. Now, we did see an interview with Chris Jericho. Well, let's just say that he will have a face-to-face confrontation with them on Collision. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Now, of course, Will Ospreay did not want to hear the crap from Daniel Garcia, what he had to say about what happened in the ring. He just took it out on him. But Jon Moxley told him, what they said out here, what he said, it's just words. Like it's saying, just ignore them. That sort of thing. Now, we did see, of course, the 5 members of the Don Callis family joining MJF. But who will be joining Mark Briscoe? Well, obviously, Briscoe has already picked his team. He picked, of course, the AEW World Trios Champions, Orange Cassidy, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. So he called in someone to help him out, and that is, of course, Konosuke Takeshita. And Takeshita tells Kyle Fletcher, I want you. Okada, I hate you. And I think that's the last thing these two expected. But the fifth person that Mark Briscoe picked, well, let's just say he has an axe to grind against Kevin Knight, and that is, of course, Darby Allin. And of course, Darby Allin knows exactly what Briscoe's feeling. MJF used to say to Darby Allin, you don't earn to become AEW World Champion. But Darby Allin's like, you know what? History repeats itself, so I'm going to help out Mark Briscoe. So he's going to make sure that Mark Briscoe does get what he wants. Because he was just like him. They're both similar, and that's exactly what we are going to see. Now, of course, there were some great moments. Now, like I said, as you all know, we did see an interesting moment where Jake Doyle was cranking on the arm of Orange Cassidy, but Orange turned it around and used on MJF, and then Andrade was telling Jake Doyle, pull it, because we all know how much he dislikes MJF. And everybody's like, no, don't do it. That's when they realized. They were looking at Andrade, what the hell are you doing? I mean, the Don Callis family should understand Andrade hates his guts. That's one of the things. He doesn't care how much money he has. And that's one of the things that kind of, how do I say, Don Callis, who's an idiot, who, even though he thinks he's a genius, he's misunderstanding. And of course, when it comes to Don Callis, he gets involved in this. I mean, we saw the mayhem on Darby Allin, but because of this, it was the distraction by MJF, and by Don Callis, and allowed for MJF to apply the salt on the earth onto, of course, Roderick Strong, and just like that, it tapped out. But however, MJF and Don Callis family are laying waste to the conglomeration Takeshita and Darby Allin to send a straight up message for what's to come at Forbidden Door. So we'll see how that turns around. So as of right now, we are done with AEW Dynamite. Let's end it with some news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So this is going to be a bit of a short one for everyone, of course. Let's start with upcoming events. As you know, Produce will have their very first show, Volume 1, The Octopus. They'll take place on the 29th of June. However, it was announced that the ROH Women's Pure title will be defended. Deonna Purrazzo will defend the championship against Lizzie Hall. This is going to be interesting to hear, but I can't wait to hear a lot or watch it. And then finally, we have GCW with the Life of Crime that will take place on the 18th of July in Dallas. They just announced the GCW Ultraviolet Championship will be on the line. Otis Cogar will defend it against Nino Extremo. So that's going to be epic. Now on to some developments here. I think we got something going on with TNA, I believe. Let me pull that up real quick. Now, as you know, recently there's been some changes. Many of you may have heard that Tommy Dreamer has left TNA just recently. He was done. So this is what their official statement coming from Anthem Sports, as you know, due to the TNA departures. Now, TNA Wrestling today announced the workforce reduction designed to streamline operations and sharpen strategic focus, profitability. TNA creative leadership team will be in immediate shift. Tommy Dreamer, who has worked on TNA's creative and talent relations department, is leaving the company, and TNA and Dreamer mutually agreed to part ways. TNA Wrestling also has come to terms to the release of Tessa Blanchard. We wish Tessa Blanchard, Tommy, and others best in their future endeavors. Now, that's something interesting about saying that to Tessa. I know last time they didn't say anything like that to her after they fired her, but yes, and that's one thing about what's going on with what's going on with them. So we don't know exactly what's going to take place. Now, speaking of Tessa, as you all know, Tessa requested her release. Now, if you guys have been following, good. Now, those who haven't been following what's going on with Tessa, let me explain. A while ago, TNA has issued a statement saying that they've been not happy with Tessa Blanchard due to the fact that she's continued to work with CMLL. Now, as you all know, TNA does not have any working relationship with CMLL. Now, I don't know if this is something because, as you know, they do have a working relationship with WWE, and WWE owns AAA. I don't know if there's going to be talent to appear in TNA. That's something that is still unclear, but I'm sure we will see that sooner or later, and that's something I'm sure it's happening. But however, Tessa Blanchard kind of gave a little statement recently on CML Informants, which is like a sit down and talk about certain things and subjects. Let me pull out what she said. The truth is, I've received a lot of messages from friends and news that I haven't replied of them yet. I want sort of things to set the record straight today. Here, I have a life. I feel very happy. The U.S. company TNA asked me, Tessa Blanchard, you need to decide whether to work your CMO wrestler or a TNA wrestler. I took the time to think it over with my dad, who I trust very much. My life is here. I'm not just another foreign wrestler. I am the most Mexican gringa. I have many goals to achieve here. I've already reached out to the top of the mountain. I want everything over there, but here I have many dreams and goals to pursue, and I needed to focus my career. My life here in Mexico, and from the moment on, I'm 100% with CML. So it looks like she chosen to be there. So it did bother the TNA had a problem with her doing this, but I'm glad that she made the choice what she felt is right. And I'm glad that she reached out her dad, as you all know. I don't know if she talked to her stepfather, Magnum, or Tully, of course. But if I was making a bet on that, I would say she'll talk to Tully, since, as you all know, her father, Tully Blanchard, is a Four Horseman. So, hopefully we get more info. I don't know if there's going to be any statement coming from TNA of her choice on that, but we'll see. But as of right now, we are done with everything. Let's call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, our next episode will most likely be Ring of Honor and, of course, TNA. So that's going to be our priority. If there's anything else, we'll just have to wait and see. Before anything else, I may do another video just like this one regarding what I'm about to tell you guys. I will not be doing any reviews for Friday or Saturday due to the fact, now I know Saturday we do have AEW Collision, but I might do that for the next episode. After that, I might review it on Sunday and anything else. The reason is this, that for Friday, I already made a commitment. For those who know me or not, I'm actually a drummer, and I made a commitment to play drums at this church already, and I cannot back down, and I won't be able to do any reviews during that time. So basically, I will put a pause on this for a while. But however, if there are some news updates that I want to put out, I might do that. As for Saturday, I will not be doing anything else. I got other things I need to do, something personal, but there's that. I just don't want to waste time on anything, put myself into stress. There's a moment in my life I have to take a step back and take a breather, not to put myself into stress. That's the last thing I need at the moment, but we'll see how things go from there. So I will resume back until Sunday. However, I will be releasing the TNA Ring of Honor video on Friday, but that's pretty much it. I may do another video just to keep everybody informed on it, but we'll see how things go. So until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.